Hi everyone, and welcome back to another matchday vlog. It's early in the morning. I need a coffee to wake up and to wash away the Jagiellonia Rug match. That was such a painful end. So the original plan for this weekend was actually to go to Poznan, because this weekend is the only weekend that both teams from Poznan have a home game. It would have been ideal to just cross off both of them in one weekend. However, like always, Ekstraklasa and Kanal Plus decided to put the Warta game on a Monday evening, which made it pretty impossible for me to do this because I have work, which means I will have to carry 2 laptops with me. And also next week I'm doing the Polish Cup game, so stay tuned for that one. But yeah, it would have made it logistically a nightmare. So for today I thought, you know what, let's cross off the smallest Ekstraklasa team. And then I'm also done with the teams from southern Poland. So, you know, for the people that want me to go up north, you're next. So for today, we're going to Puszcza Niepołomice. Nice, I managed to say that in one go. They have the early 12:40 kickoff against Zagłębie Lubin. So I better get going to Kraków. So why are we back in Kraków again? There's a little story to that. Puszcza is from Niepołomice, which is a little town 30 minutes drive away to the east of Kraków, and they were founded in 1923. So last year, to celebrate their 100th year anniversary, they managed to get promoted to the Ekstraklasa for the first time ever in their history. But for every team with promotion to the Ekstraklasa comes a lot more regulations, especially concerning the stadium. And even though Puszcza Stadium looks a lot better than most clubs of their size I've seen here in Poland, it was not meeting the regulations. If I remember correctly, it was about the media. There's not enough places for cameras for Kanal Plus, because for the Ekstraklasa they require a lot more camera options than for Fortuna Liga. So Puszcza was forced to look for a new home for the season. And since they're only 30 minutes away from Kraków, it was an obvious choice. They first tried with Wisła Kraków, and the deal was almost made. But then there were massive protests from the Wisła Kraków fans because they didn't want to have a team play in their stadium that kicked them out of the playoffs. Last season, Puszcza faced Wisła Kraków in the playoffs and beat them, so there's still some bad blood between those two. But luckily for Puszcza, across the field from Wisła Kraków, there's another stadium, and that's the Cracovia Stadium, which we're heading to today. It is a bit big for the size of a team as Puszcza. I think on average there are around 2,900 fans, and Puszcza is doing pretty well actually for their debut season in the Ekstraklasa. They managed to already win 5 times this season. They are in the relegation zone. I think you can say the same about all the teams up to 10th place. So it's pretty close. And even the opponents for today, Zagłębie Lubin, can still fall into the relegation zone. They're just 5 points ahead of Puszcza. So, because Puszcza does not really get big crowds, but also don't really have big rivals, I'm making an exception today, because we are going to join the hardcore fans on Sector B3 and have some fun. But for Puszcza, I'm going to make an exception because I'm not really in the mood to film a half-empty stadium. So I'm just going to join them, have fun, get myself a scarf. So yeah, let's get to the stadium. Still some time to wait. But yeah, we're back. Cracovia Stadium. Haven't been there for a while now actually. So any Cracovia fans watching this video, let me know, suggest me a good match and I'll try to come. But yeah, even though they're not playing at their home stadium, I'm still counting it. It's club number 12, Puszcza. 6 more teams to go. I'm a bit annoyed because I was hoping to be able to buy a scarf for the collection. It looks like I have to buy it online again. There's the Zuber. Let's go. team 12 down of the 18 in the Ekstraklasa. It's fun atmosphere. And if you're a fan of the old school English kick and rush football, then Puszcza is your team. But it works for them, so you know, no hating. Zagłębie had the most possession, but that's their style of football. To be honest, they had a couple of 100% shooting opportunities, and instead they preferred to pass it around. So they can only look at themselves. What do you prefer, scoring goals or having possession? You cannot pass the ball into the goal. You need to shoot. Puszcza continuing to punch above their weight. They even had the opportunity to win, actually. But both teams a point. Maybe a deserved outcome. In the end, it will not help both teams at all. Again, as always, thanks for joining me. Please like and subscribe. You know what to do. And we see each other next weekend. Bye-bye.